Hi guys. Today we are going to be talking about tarot. We're going to be doing like a little introduction and like my little guide to doing tarot for those of you who are unfamiliar or trying to get into it. This is something I've been getting into recently. I would still consider myself a beginner, um, like beginner to intermediate, and it's really fun. It's really great. Like, what even is it? What is tarot? So, is it just a deck of pretty cards that woo woo people assign meaning to and let dictate their lives? No, not at all, actually. Let's start with the origins of tarot. Part 1. Tarot originally began as a card game amongst Italian nobility in Milan and Ferrara known as tarocchi in the 15th century. The oldest surviving set, known as the Visconti Sforza set deck, was created for the Duke of Milan's family in the 1440s. Here, the major arcana, or the trionfi, or triumph cards, began to form. This included El Matto, or the Fool, a card that could be played to avoid losing a valuable card or following suit. We see the structure of the minor arcana form here as well. Tarocchi became very popular in Europe, and by 1650 it had been refined and standardized into the French Marseille tarot. Thanks to mass printing, it was now widely available to everybody and boomed in popularity. Like, everybody wanted this. It was available to common folk. It wasn't just for nobility anymore. In 1781, we're going to jump ahead a little bit, an article was published by pastor and writer Anton Court Gebelin, I don't know, I don't speak French, which claimed that tarot cards actually held secret meaning from the ancient Egyptians' Book of Thoth. This was, of course, no basis for this. He kind of just made it up, that we know of, but it's basically the root of why tarot is now considered like an esoteric divination method. A decade later, in 1791, a man named Atea, or it's French, so it's probably Atea, or Atella, published a tarot deck specifically for divination with art created by Pierre-François Basson. This had specific meanings assigned to each card and was known as the Atea, or the Jeu de Thoth's game. In the 18th and 19th centuries, we see cartomancy emerge as a profession, but only in esoteric circles of society, such as the Freemasons, occultists, and alchemists. In 1856, we see Eliphas Levi linked tarot with the Hebrew alphabet and the Kabbalistic tree of life, furthering the ties to mysticism. This influenced the creation of an important group known as the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn. That's going to be its own video because there's a lot there and I haven't done the research on it yet. So, here's an excerpt from the website that I got a lot of this information from, that Oracle Guys article on tarot. I'm going to link it in the description if you want to read it yourself. But this is about the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn. Founded in 1888 in London, the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn was an esoteric society dedicated to the study and practice of the occult, alchemy, astrology, metaphysics, geomancy, and more. The Golden Dawn placed significant emphasis on tarot, viewing it as a comprehensive symbolic system that encapsulated universal archetypes and esoteric knowledge. Members were encouraged to study and meditate upon the tarot's imagery to gain deeper spiritual insights. So that's the Golden Order of the Hermetic Dawn, and specifically their link to tarot. Two members that we need to know about today: Pamela Colman Smith and Arthur Edward Waite. Some of you may recognize their names, specifically their last names. Waite liked tarot, but saw it more as a tool for self-reflection and spiritual enlightenment rather than receiving messages from the universe or something like that, or rather than divination. This was thought to be part of his reasoning for leaving the Hermetic Order, to form his own group, the Fellowship of the Rosy Cross, which is a 10 out of 10 name. He wanted to create a deck that encapsulated his beliefs surrounding spirituality and reached out to Pamela Coleman Smith to create the deck. Rather than having, so originally there was only the major arcana were illustrated. The original 22 cards were illustrated, and then the other cards were just like suits, like kind of like the face cards, the playing cards, and then just having like symbols on the other ones. Smith made each card their own story with their own meaning and their own set of imagery, depicting where they were in the minor arcana and where they kind of fell in the structure of a tarot deck. So she took Waite's esoteric meanings and illustrated every single card beautifully and with great care and created incredible illustrations. If you haven't seen the RWS deck before, you should definitely take a look at it. It's so beautiful. Waite wrote a book to go along with this called The Key to the Tarot, and all of this was published by William Ryder and Son in 1909. And so began the most influential and still the most prominent tarot deck, at least in Western culture, the Rider-Waite-Smith deck, also known as RWS. This is the basis of most modern tarot. All the tarot I read is based on RWS. A lot of tarot decks that you'll find at like book chains or in small bookshops is based on the RWS system. A lot of beginner people are told to buy the RWS deck first because that imagery on it is going to help you understand the meanings of the cards better, because the imagery is very symbolic and very tied to the more intuitive meaning of the card, and kind of allows you to read them without having to go through the book every time. I plan on having both at some point, both the book and the deck. I don't right now. I learned on a separate deck, and currently I use Ethereal Visions by Matt Hughes, which I really love. We'll go into that. But yeah, that is part one. Part two, we're going to discuss the deck structure now. We've discussed the origins of tarot, and there's a lot more history involved, especially in the 60s and 70s, but I didn't want to go into that, so I just did like the very basics. So a classic RWS deck has 78 cards in total, 22 major, 56 minor. The major cards are numbered 0 through 21, and the minor cards follow the structure. There are 4 court cards: kings, queens, knights, and pages, and then there are 10 ace through 10 like minor cards to go along with that. Each suit of the minor arcana, there are 4, has elemental and life correspondences. So, for example, I'll just go through them all. It's not really an example. Wands are the suit of fire and also the suit of creativity and passion and drive. Cups are the suit of water, and then also have ties to emotions and feelings and flow of life. Pentacles are earth, and they are tied to the material world and grounding and the physicality of spiritualism, I guess. And then swords on the other end of the spectrum are related to air and to thought. So they are the mind, often referencing clarity, definitely deeper thoughts. You really want to go into like the mind stuff. So those are the 4 suits, and those are only found in the minor arcana. The major are kind of their own. They don't follow their own structure. You can kind of read them as a story. Maybe I'll make a video just like on the story of tarot and like the story told throughout the deck. But they're their own thing. So I'm gonna put up here just a quick list of keywords that go along with the major arcana. So if you want to just like quick read them real, like if you're just learning and you need somewhere to start, it's a good place to start. Sometime in the future, I might make a video that goes through the meanings of each card, and we'll dedicate like, or maybe I'll make like a series with like one card per video or something. I don't know, we'll see. So there's some numerology involved, and there is a breakdown of the minor arcana. So kings are mastery of the suit. They have the most experience, the most knowledge, and the most wisdom regarding whatever that suit represents. Queens represent nurturing and wisdom. They want to grow their knowledge. They want to sort of foster whatever that suit is. Knights are adventurers. They're forging their paths. They're finding their way. They're a little bit impulsive, and they really just want to collect all the information that they can. Pages are the newest to the skill set and are the messengers. They often have something to tell you. They mean that there's a message from your spirit guides or your higher self or whatever you choose to believe in when it comes to tarot. And those are kind of reflected throughout the meanings of the tarot when you read the books and you read the guides, and when you start learning it on your own intuitively, you kind of see this pattern developed. Then there's numerology involved a little bit. I don't know much about it, but aces represent the beginning of the cycle because this is the one card. This is the beginning of the cycle. This is step one. You are just learning. For example, if you pull an ace of wands, you are just starting to develop your passions. You are budding in your journey. You just took your first step down that road. Twos represent duality and choice, often represented with two of the things in some sort of cohesive imagery together. Threes represent community, togetherness, and relationship. It's that trifecta. It's a very strong shape. Represents, the Trinity, and then also that community and togetherness. Fours represent structure and foundation. Fives can be challenging, posing often an obstacle in the deck. There's something more you need to look closer at, or just a little hiccup in the middle of the road, a little bump. Sixes are cohesion and harmony. Sevens are another challenge and difficulty card. Eights represent abundance and success. 9 represents attainment, the fruits of labor, and the results of your hard work. And 10s stand for the end of the cycle and the renewal of a cycle. So if you pull a 10, it's not necessarily that something's going to end, but rather one cycle has come to a close and another is going to begin. There's a renewal of sorts. So now you have a very basic understanding of the structure of a tarot deck, and with a little bit of practice, and if you just start doing it, you will start learning it in no time. It'll be super easy. You'll figure it out, and you'll pick it up like this. Especially knowing the structure, you can start reading intuitively all on your own. Okay, now it's time for part 3. Okay, you've learned the history and you've learned the structure. But how do I read the cards? What do I do with them? How do I lay them out? I see people do these complicated spreads. Don't start there. You want to start with something small. Just shuffle the cards and wait for one to pop out. I'm going to show you how I shuffle cards. So I typically do a very standard, like just the typical card shuffle to get them all mixed up. And then after I do that, I do an overhand shuffle. I think that's what it's called. I don't know. But you just kind of tap the cards into place and they just kind of fall out of your hand. And you'll see some cards start to like stick up. And as you do this, you'll get better at it and it'll take kind of longer. But as you do this, you go through the whole deck over and over again sometimes. And you just wait for a card to pop out. You wait for one to fly out, you wait for one to slide down your hand, you wait for it to fall out of the deck. Sometimes you get, see, there we go. You just got, it's reversed. We got the Queen of Wands. She's beautiful. You can see there. Okay. So that's how I shuffle to get the cards that I need. If I'm doing a spread for other people, what I'll do is I will spread the cards out like that and like longer. I'll spread the deck out and have them choose which ones they're drawn to because it's a little bit more following your intuition. And I do that for myself occasionally as well. But especially when I'm working with like spirit guides or something like that, I like to do the pop out method because then whatever pops out is what the universe or the spirits are trying to say. So keep in mind what you've learned about the structure of the deck and what each card may represent. Pay attention to the imagery on the card. For example, we have this Queen of Wands. You can see she has a cat, she has a wand here, or a staff, she has a sunflower, high collar. She looks very regal, she looks like a queen. She looks motherly and nurturing and like she knows what she's talking about. She has wisdom, she has strength, as you can see in these lines here. She has clarity, as you can see this thing here. She's achieved her dreams. She's blooming out of her head. I know it's like a little flower crown or something, but she's full of wisdom and full of passion and drive and creativity. And you can tell all of that just from looking at this. And then look at the direction. This isn't a great example of this one. Look at the direction the card is facing. So she's facing a little bit to the left, my left, uh, when she's facing me. She's facing left, but she's facing right on here. Left facing characters are going to be representing inner thought, inner influences, internalized struggles or thoughts or something like that. They want you to look back, they want you to reflect, um, or they could be reflecting something from the past. Whereas characters looking to the right often represent outside influence, social influence, um, looking forward into the future, looking at something further along in the journey, not necessarily now or in the past. Tarot is very intuitive, and I recommend that you read the tarot cards, read the spread that you want laid out before, do that intuitively, and then look at the guidebook. Because the guidebook is a guide. It's not there to tell you the answers, it's there to kind of help you learn the cards yourself and learn how it all works together. So let's do a very, very simple 3-card draw. We're just going to do something super easy. And then afterwards, I'll read it intuitively to you, and then we'll go through the guides. Okay, so I'm going to move my camera. Okay, there you can kind of see what I'm doing. You can see how I'm going to shuffle. Ooh. I shuffle with the cards away from me so I can't see them, so I guess I'll do that for you. Shuffle this way. You can see kind of how it looks. And then I'm going to overhand shuffle until a few cards pop out. And while you're doing this, you want to be asking your questions. So let's take a look at my career. As we shuffle this, I would like to know about what reflects my career in the past right now. Let's look at the past. And there we go. We have the Hermit. We're going to put that down. Usually I leave the cards flipped over, but if they reveal themselves to me before I get all the cards out, that's okay. I just kind of leave them face up. We have the Hermit. And now we want to reflect my first card that came out. Page of Cups represents my career in the present. And then let's do the future. Where is my career headed? What path am I going down? Where am I going to end up on this journey? Sometimes it takes a while for the cards to pop out. I just kind of do this for a while until something comes out. I think when you first start, you're going to be dropping a lot of cards and it's going to feel like the fates are yelling at you over and over again, but I promise you it's just that you're learning how to shuffle and you're not very good at it yet. So we pulled the Nine of Swords, but we pulled it reversed. And reversals can be a little bit complicated, so I'm not going to read the reversal right now. We can do its own video on reversals and kind of explain that. For me, reversals often just represent a challenge. They don't necessarily represent the opposite of whatever the card means. Yeah, they can just represent something might be standing in the way of the meaning of that card, or something just difficult in the path. So the first card we pulled from my career, in my career in the past, was the Hermit. So just from looking at this card, you can see that he's facing left. It's very self-reflective. It's focused on internal turmoil. I know the Hermit he's very wise. He's very old. He knows a lot of information. And if you think about my career in the past, I worked with a lot of elderly people. I worked in a lot of customer service positions. It was a lot of emotion, a lot of inner work to do on my part to learn to like not really take in what people were going to say, and just the public was going to public and I was going to be me. So in the present, we're looking at the Page of Cups. There's a message here. He's looking to, or she, they're looking to the left. Again, very self-reflective, very inwardly thinking. We have this flowing, we have crashing waves in the background. We have a fish up here. We have these clouds. Ooh, we have these clouds, but then a clear sky above them. So what could this card represent just by looking at it? It could represent inner thought. Page of Cups, it's the beginning of that journey. It's the beginning, the messenger. There is some work that needs to be done here. There is, for my present career, I'm at the beginning of a journey, which is true. This is the beginning of my YouTube channel. And I'm learning. I am looking in and I'm learning things about myself. I'm starting this new emotional journey, this new creative journey, and we're seeing where it goes. Where is it going to go? We look at the card for the future. I pulled the Nine of Swords, a visually upsetting card. There's all of these ghosty guys yelling at this lady who looks distraught in her bed, and there's this like king with swords on it right here. To me, and she's facing right, so it's giving more external influence to me, but my interpretation of this card is that there's a lot of voices, there's a lot of different opinions, there's a lot of different things being told to this person, and it's overwhelming, it's distressing, there's too much of it to handle. Now 9, I said, represents abundance and the attainment of those goals, but in the card like this case, you can see that it's a little bit more upsetting than that, but that's okay. I don't see that as a negative thing. I don't think that my future career is like totally fucked over because I pulled a card like this. It's how you interpret it. It's there's going to be a lot of feedback in my future, and there's going to be a lot of noise that I need to filter through and handle on my own, because swords is the card of thought, or the pursuit of thought, and so there's going to be a lot, and I need to keep my mind clear, and I need clarity and abundance in my own strength and my thoughts. So now we're going to go through what the little guidebook says, just so you can get an understanding of how my interpretation and the guidebook might not necessarily line up, but they can both be valid interpretations of cards. It's very open-ended. So we're going to look at the Hermit. The Hermit advises you that now is time for reflection. You must look inward for truth and wisdom. You have all the knowledge you need inside yourself. Be calm and reflective. Do not let the outside world distract you from the messages you hold within. So this card is saying, reflect on your past career. Look at it, reflect on it, see what you learned from that. Let's look at the Page of Cups. This page is a soul explorer who wants to journey through the soul's inner depths. There is a playful air to this sweet energy and tells you to embrace this journey with love and joie de vivre. Are you feeling adventurous? Do you wish to explore new territories? When this page makes an appearance, get ready to have fun and awaken your playful side. This is, I'd say, very valid for this card right now because I love the job that I have. I work at a bowling alley. It's very exciting. It's very fun, but there's a lot for me to explore and kind of learn about the depth and the soul of it and the soul of myself and how I fit into that sort of role. And then we have the Nine of Swords. Let's pull up Miss Nine of Swords. Nope. You feel overwhelmed and things might seem out of your control to the point where it keeps you up at night. A situation may happen and it's time to reach out for help before it completely consumes you. Ease the worry, anxiety, overwhelm by breaking it down before it breaks you down. And I think that's valid as I go into my career as a YouTuber and on social media. And as I kind of further where I'm at in my life, I want to be mindful of the voices and the noise that are going to come in and the feedback and the comments. And I need to be mindful of that as I go forward. And it's something to be aware of. So that is how you read tarot, basically. That's the history of tarot. That is the understanding of tarot, in my opinion, how you intuitively read a deck, and then how you would read the deck based on the guidebook, and how they can go hand in hand. And I can understand, and I resonate with both descriptions. I personally prefer to use my intuition to read the cards and then read it that way. And then if I'm feeling stuck on a card, that's usually when I go to the guidebook. But I do like reading it to see what they have to say as well, to see what like the original creator intended by the meanings of these cards. So yeah, that's tarot, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and thank you so much for being a part of this, and thank you to all of my friends and family who are supportive of this journey, both my YouTube journey and my spiritual journey. I plan on making more videos about it, and if you have any questions, you can put them down in the comments or reach out to me individually. My Instagram is going to be linked in the description as well, so you can totally check that out. But please like this video. It's very important that you like this video. Leave a comment, subscribe, and if you want to, in your comments, tell me a question that you would ask tarot, and yeah, just for some interaction. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and don't forget, guys, keep it super duper twisted.